If we could actually end up winning this, that would be just really huge for everyone. It's a huge confidence boost going into Worlds that you feel like you're the best team in NA, or at least you managed to beat the other really good teams. And that'd just be really big for us. It's really what we've worked towards, and now we're already qualified for Worlds, so we're just looking to get that first place.
Welcome back to the Summer Playoff Championship. We're headed right back onto the Rift with Game 2 between TSM and Cloud9. And Cloud9, they were looking very calm and methodical as they took that first win in the series.
But Meteos died. I can't believe it. He had a 94 KDA. He was 6 away from 100 versus TSM in the playoffs.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah, he was at that 94 mark when he started. I don't even have a 94 KDA over 6 games versus intermediate bots. That's how dominant this guy has been versus TSM. It's ridiculous to watch him play.
So we will look for him to continue to dominate. But over on TSM's side, we saw in that post-game huddle that they didn't look too rattled after the loss. So Pobelter, which of those 5 members are we looking at to kind of turn things around here?
Hopefully Dyrus can kind of turn on the kill switch like he did during the match against LMQ. You know, he was doing okay in the beginning of the series, and then just something snapped inside of him. Got like 3 kills in the lane and snowballed it throughout the entire map.
Yeah, we definitely saw that if Dyrus gets a kill under his belt, his energy can really, you know, bleed into the other members on the team. So we're going to see if he can do just that as we throw it over to Riv and Jat to take us into the game. Cloud9 have secured their spot at this year's Worlds, so they took a moment to look back on their performance last year and how far they've come since then.
Going into last Worlds, we had a bye for the entire group stage. So basically we're trying to get as much practice as possible so that we'd be kind of on par with other teams who actually got to play the group stage.
Basically, everyone said we're the only hope for North America. When everyone's saying that, your friends, your family, everyone, this is so much pressure. Like, we already had pressure to perform for ourselves. We didn't want to make an embarrassment out of ourselves, but we wanted to prove that we were good.
We were really anticipating playing against a Korean team. And so when we got up against Fnatic, I think we might have underestimated them a little bit.
We lost the first game to Fnatic to Cast and Double TP. The second game we were able to pull out a win, and the third game we messed up early game and we kind of threw from there.
They sort of like exposed our weaknesses that we had on our team, and they outplayed us.
After losing against Fnatic, we were pretty sad because we didn't get to prove ourselves on the world stage.
We basically lost right away. We had 5 minutes of fame there and we just died out.
I don't know if the bye necessarily hurt us. I think that if we were good enough going into the entire tournament that we would have won regardless of where we're seated.
I think a lot of our own problems were our own problems. The bye didn't really matter. Even if we had a few days of like extra practice on the stage, it wouldn't have actually made us play better.
Fnatic definitely played very differently than we have had any experience with in NA.
The international playstyle at Worlds, I would say it surprised me a lot.
When we played Fnatic, that was our first time playing against an international team as a team together.
Since then, we've just had a lot more opportunities to play against international teams, either in scrims and tournaments.
Every time we played against other teams in Europe or anywhere else, we just kept getting better and better. When we went to All-Stars, we got to practice against SKT and other teams, and that helped us a lot.
So we just have more experience with a lot of different kinds of play styles. The teams who are going to be dominating actually at Worlds or at any tournament are the people who have been dominating in scrims, and that's something that we see since we actually play all these scrims.
I want us to be prepared. I want us to be on the same wavelength. Like, if we're thinking different things before going in, that's bad. I want everyone to be thinking the same thing, and I want us to be prepared more than anything.
The Worlds mentality is really going to kick in once we actually make it into Worlds. At that point, we have to start looking forward and seeing like what is our best strategy to come into Worlds prepared.
I don't think we're the best team in the world by any means, but I think we can compete against them, and we have a little bit more ways to go to actually be able to compete against the best consistently.
Our ideal North American playoff run would just be us playing our best for every round.
Winning is extremely important, but also feeling like we actually are on top of our game is what I think would give us the best momentum to go to Worlds.
And Sneaky commenting in that video that, you know, 2 extra days wouldn't really be or have changed the outcome of what happened, but Tuesday is actually when they have scheduled to be leaving for the World's Championship, like boot camp that they're going to be having also with Alliance. So there's a lot more time there for them to correct, make, and create strats.
Yeah, it's crazy that Cloud9 is actually leaving for Korea from Seattle tomorrow.
Yeah, not going back home. They're right on it.
They're going to be prepared.
They're going to be prepared, and right now TSM trying to prepare themselves here for Game 2 of this best-of-5 series here for the NA Summer LCS Playoff Finals. It's crazy that these two teams, again, come to it, and Cloud9, again, has shown so much strength coming out of the game one.
And let's just kind of reset here. We need to set the stage. It's a 14-0 all-time playoff record for Cloud9. TSM has never taken a game off of Cloud9 in the playoffs. They have hardly beaten them at all since entering the LCS. However, this split, more than any other split, TSM has found more success over Cloud9. They beat them twice during the regular season, so there's that, right?
Yep.
They know they can beat this team. They beat them all the time in scrims.
Right.
It's just a matter of beating them on the big stage for the first place in North America.
It's been in different areas, different times as well. TSM has changed the composition of their roster around this season, and it seemed to pay off so far now heading into this final matchup, or I should say final best of 5 with Cloud9. 4 more games to go, possibly. Cloud9 looking to make it 2, as they would like to. The Nunu still gets banned out. Balls will not have Nidalee. Seeing some of the same, the chaos of Zillion's Chrono Shift will not be seen throughout this game.
See, it's really strange to me when teams have a priority on one champion like Zillion, and then still respect the other team to use it better than them, because I don't feel like Zillion was that effective for TSM in that last game, yet they still banned it out themselves. That's just a personal curiosity of mine, but you can definitely see TSM taking the generic ban strategy once again, hoping for different picks now that they are on the blue side.
And Cloud9 showing that they have no trouble banning Amazing with the same 2 champions to start off again, knowing that they'll hinder a bit of his jungle pressure and objective control, always banning that. Nunu, you will not get Zed this time, Bjergsen, and they will have the Alistar left open, hovered, and locked.
All right, so the first time we're going to get to see Alistar here in the North American playoffs, it feels like. He's been banned so much here at PAX. Whether it's a top lane Alistar or a support Alistar is yet to be seen. Lustboy has played a lot of support Alistar. That was even before he was buffed. So now that top lane headbutt Alistar is so big, we'll see if Cloud9 is willing to play it. Cloud9 may pick Mundo here at some point during pick and ban, because he's one of the guys who can withstand the Alistar in the top lane. Or they could just try and lane swap it and neutralize it. We'll see.
Slow lock-ins here coming from Cloud9. Like we said, we kind of saw both teams doing their own thing coming to champion select, and it seemed like that caught TSM off guard with the Fizz pick in the end. It was something they played, but all the way down the line it was a bit faster than what did they want to round it out with Bjergsen. Here Cloud9 from the get-go seems to be taking it into consideration, but so far it's not fixed. Or if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, they're keeping the Nami away from Lustboy as well.
Right.
Lemon with his pick and ban priority, made with the help of their analyst Charlie, who was here in Seattle as well. They've really been on fire lately. Like Cloud9, they had such a shaky start to the regular season, but really the fact that they won 10 of their last 11 games is so impressive.
They're a team that kind of is able to bring out the wins without showing anything different. Before, they'd always say, we just like to pick what's OP, but now they don't do that anymore. They pick what they're actually good at. The whole team has come together with such a composition, and every time, usually it's a fighting composition. We don't see too much poke coming from these guys. They like to control the game and then keep control of it.
See,
oh man.
The fans are saying don't pick Lucian. WildTurtle wants Lucian.
He likes it. Builds that damage early in the game. Very early, as you would, AD caster Lucian, but there's a lot of banking on this Trist here.
Yeah. So this is a personal opinion in mine. Yes, Tristana is 11-2 in the playoffs here in North America, but I think that is more of a correlation than an absolute cause. I look at the last game, and TSM did not lose because they had Lucian and not Trist. They actually won the lane with Lucian.
Right, exactly.
Pretty substantially. They took the turret and took almost no turret damage in return. The team fights didn't go well, and TSM was not able to snowball their advantage. But WildTurtle is one of the better Lucians, and Sneaky may actually be the best Lucian in North America, talking to a lot of the players, so it is not a bad pick to take that away from him.
Absolutely. The positioning is above and beyond something you have to have with Lucian. If you want to harass in lane, the Yasuo comes out quite fast. The synergy as well across the board with everybody except Meteos. And the lock-in's almost even faster, or at least the hovers here from Team Solo Mid. The Kazakhs once again going into the hands of Amazing and Lustboy on the Thresh.
These are very powerful lanes for TSM, through and through.
Yep.
Alistar top lane.
It's what they needed.
Bjergsen Syndra is incredible, and it will really be on high to withstand that in lane as Yasuo. It'll be a little tricky for TSM to have the proper exhaust coverage for Yasuo. I'm really wondering if Lustboy is going to switch that Ignite out for an exhaust, because Bjergsen will want the Ignite for the kill pressure. If not, the team fights could get a little bit slippery for TSM.
And I feel like if that's the result, Jat, it's not going to be good. With this good of picks coming in for TSM, if they flounder this game, it's not going to spell good things for the series.
No, definitely not. While it is possible to come back from 2-0s,
it is
unlikely, especially when TSM has been 3-0'd multiple times by Cloud9.
So we have it locked in. The Lulu gets grabbed up on the other side. High will have that assassination potential on his Yasuo and blocking Bjergsen's ult all day if he can get him in there. So very good back and forth we're going to get from the mid lane. Probably going to not get High on a very early first blood, so we're going to have a different matchup from the get-go, besides the champions.
And one thing that Cloud9 is going to have to do with this matchup is play a lot of disengage. It's very difficult to work around Alistar's Unbreakable Will, his ultimate. 70% damage reduction, plus a whole bunch of AD to add to it. So when he goes in, Cloud9 will have to peel back, and that's one of the big reasons, I think, they went with the Lulu. They need the Glitterlands to keep TSM at bay, and they need to be able to retreat when they get initiated on by Alistar. I want to see how those teamfights play out.
All right, we'll see how it happens. The teams are loading into the Rift for our second match between TSM and Cloud9. This is going to be huge. Use TSM #win or Cloud9 #win and keep all those predictions up to date and coming, as we will update them on the screen. That's what happens. We like to show you guys that you're bringing in an effort here and really having a point to the game. The players also want to feel you shake the stage. Get your voices up for Cloud9 or TSM. Get the cheers out. They're not going to be able to hear you, but they're definitely going to be able to feel in their seats.
Yeah, there's enough people here that the vibration, nothing stops that as far as the crowd goes. TSM does seem to have the slight fan favorite, but there are a lot of Cloud9 fans here. It's a very high final. And remember, the first place seed in North America, even though both these teams are going to Worlds, do not get in a group with any of the #1 seeds from other regions. So no #1 Korea, China, or EU team will be in the groups for the winner of this game.
All right, we're locked and loaded. TSM versus Cloud9. It's TSM's on the blue side this time. Game 2 of the best of 5, ladies and gentlemen. You better be sitting in your seats, because you're going to be jumping soon. You're going to need all that energy. TSM off of the blue side. Cloud9 now on the red. Early game kills went to High last time. Pole Belter kind of felt that that was just a huge boon, and enough really to come out of the lane so early that they were able to control the game. That should be thwarted this time. We'll see pretty much regular starts in the inventories. No lane swaps. We did get that Cloud9 solo AD carry to start last time that they've been doing so often.
I don't think they're going to be able to do that this time against the Alistar, just because the harass will probably be too great for Sneaky. It is free harass, headbutt, and an auto attack from Alistar. They need to be able to preemptively shield that with Lulu. It'll be a lot on balls to have very quick reaction time on that shield. Otherwise, the ally will destroy him in lane. We'll have to watch for that, and potentially more standard lanes. But as well, Alistar is super strong at level 1, so they may get some nice jungle positioning here.
All right, the back and forth for wards. I see junglers probably start on both sides. Oh, downside for Meteos. Be interesting. I see Amazing usually trying to go and help Bjergsen in these early part of the games when he gets Syndra, the crowd control damage, and everything that she can bring early game, as that lane bully is quite huge. One missed wall and High could be going down quite fast. Not too many escapes coming in from Yasuo, but same side, Syndra doesn't have those escapes either, and Meteos is a deadly Elise.
And remember, no exhaust on TSM.
That's true.
How many assassin versus assassin matchups did we see yesterday in the Curse vs LMQ game where exhaust was being taken by both mid laners and both supports? And it was just an exhaust party in team fights.
These are going to be some fast fights then.
Potentially.
All right, Amazing onto the blue, gets a little bit of help. We are going to get the swap up to the top lane, but it's actually maybe the solo AD carry.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they're putting Sneaky against Alistar. Maybe they think he can get enough harass in when Alistar goes in that he can out-harass him. But I mean, with a Crystalline Flask on Ali, that's a little bit doubtful. I wonder what TSM's game is here, because they're actually not sending Ali up to that lane. He appears to be double jungling with Amazing and leaving Sneaky 1v0 in that top lane.
The little
I
different.
feel like that gives Cloud9 a pretty substantial early game edge here.
Yeah, and Sneaky hasn't leveled a thing in that lane. I mean, he can. It wouldn't be explosive shot. He's going to freeze the heck out of it, but he's just having the time of his life.
Yeah, right now a bunch of experience is going to waste in the top lane. It's an entire lane that TSM doesn't have access to. Instead, they are sharing the jungle that Meteos is getting solo experience for.
Yep.
So a definite edge here for Cloud9. Unless TSM does something heroic with these Alistar and Kha'Zix plays, maybe an early 4-man dive is what they plan on. They are stacking up a pretty large minion wave here, but it's been warded out by Cloud9, so I imagine they'll be able to make a retreat.
Headbutt Pulverize is still what is used for Dyrus. They didn't get the heal, so they're coming in with full power on this one, chat. Already Cloud9 is pulling off a fantastic early ward towards the river. This is going to give TSM a little bit of control here. This almost looks like what they would try to do to Complexity and just completely shove them out of the lane with having more members in the bottom.
They're going to try and steal this white. If they do this, it's just going to add insult to injury. They stole it. Wow. Cloud9 is demolishing TSM in this early game right now.
Got to be playing against them. This is only going to cause TSM to have to try and make more moves.
They have to fast push this turret. They have to kill the turret now, otherwise the gold will not even be close. And now they're teleporting to the other lane with the Alistar, but Sneaky has a 2-level edge already, and they're going for a dive immediately.
Oh man, that's going to be even nicer than killing a Mundo. Taking down an Alistar as well, preventing that level 6 from happening, so it's going to be even harder for everything to happen from Team Solo Mid with their front line.
The mind games right there is pretty immense. Now TSM trying to do the Dragon as a counter, but I wonder, they're down a man, no teleport. Can this be harassed off? It depends how well they juggle the Dragon aggro, and LemonNation is just level 1.
Right in the face, Bjergsen for a bit of flow, but they trade the same amount of damage. Dragon still going over towards Team Solo Mid with LemonNation just trying to be a nuisance on the outside. Great job on the dodging out of the Dragon aggro. Amazing taking a little bit now as they know they just need to stay in and get it. So great response from Team Solo Mid.
Yeah.
It was a chaotic early game, but they are able to control a bit of it.
Making the best out of a bad situation. You look at the gold and they do have the lead there because of the turret. And the Dragon stacking up to be greater than the First Blood. But the question will remain, how will Dyrus do? How much does this shut him down?
Right.
He's a level 2 Alistar who is normally picked to demolish the lane, get ahead, and then take over the mid-game team fights. It'll be a long time until he's level 6, and will he have any items to actually show presence with? That's where the problem will lie for TSM.
Be a while before he gets a lane to himself, especially with TSM taking it down soon. They can farm this bottom one as much as they want along with balls, and still the top lane I don't think is taking much. Down to half, so warmed up for when they need it, but Sneaky can just sit here. Great play so far from both sides. I like the reactive play from Team Solo Mid. It definitely shows that with the loss of the last game, they are still going strong with this best of 5 series.
One thing that I've always admired about Cloud9 is their willingness to let top picks through and handle them. They may have done that with Alistar. They did it with the Zillion last game as well. Just champions that other teams think are insurmountable, and then Cloud9 shows the answer to it.
Right.
Dyrus is definitely not having a good game here, and I want to see if Cloud9 is able to work around that ridiculous Alistar ultimate.
Oh, hello.
Lantern.
Lantern in.
Sneak
Gets
attack.
the play for the slow. Slows for the play. So good. Just so good to prep that up. LemonNation had no way to get out of that. So well timed, such composure. Great job by Team Solo Mid.
Hey, if TSM's going to keep mobbing like this and Cloud9 is not going to have proper vision control up, it will give TSM an early game lead here. Getting that kill and maybe leading to a second turret is pretty important, but the gank had missed.
Unfortunately, the flash is already down. Bjergsen got himself caught up in that both summoners, but he answers back onto high with the retribution kill of his own. TSM still going hard on the top lane, though.
Bjergsen hit level 6 in the nick of time to be able to get that ultimate out from Syndra, popping down high just enough. And they are now taking control of the map here because of the ward coverage and because of the turret damage that Lucian can provide early.
Here we go, Jet. 2 kills already on both sides at the beginning of this one. And like you said, 2 turrets down. Those turrets also mean map vision. So TSM's going to be able to put up and start getting those forward wards in without C9 knowing. Ball's backed up now, level 4 to level 5 in that lane. So Dyrus coming out of the jungle still kept himself doing pretty well here, even though he died.
Yeah, so the way this game is playing out right now, TSM definitely has an advantage in gold. But what that has cost them is a potentially very farmed Meteos. He now has his Sightstone and will try and control the vision. For TSM, they kind of just want to keep the pressure up. They have 2 turrets down already. If they can get 3, they may be able to start starving Cloud9 off of experience. The gold lead lies to us right now because Cloud9 can still be in position to get other turrets, and in the jungle they hold a pretty decent experience edge as well as on this 80 carry slot. There's still much game to be played here.
TSM prioritizing the turrets quite a bit as they send everybody towards the top side.
Look at this, Meteos is going to hit level 7 on this red buff. Amazing is going to hit level 5 on his red buff. It's a big discrepancy if they meet. It basically means Meteos needs to start invading and bullying Amazing, which is difficult when TSM is pushing the lane so well.
And when you see that, when you are Meteos and you see Amazing at level 5, how fast do you act on it? What's your first point?
You have to act immediately. The focus here, though, is the mid lane, knowing there's a flash down.
And knowing that pressure from Amazing won't be as big. No ultimate there, and they are free to take down Bjergsen for a second time. The teleport has been stopped. That teleport stopped. Actually, I think it was hit up by balls because they are close to the bottom lane.
Yeah, either Dyrus canceled it because he was worried about the 2 mammoths in the mid lane, or he just got it canceled. We'll have to take a check on that if it was canceled. But either way, either way, they're trying to punish the immobility of Syndra by just punishing that mid lane again and again, and knowing that a counter gank from Amazing is not threatening yet.
Right. So, play to the top lane now. A lot of aggression coming out of these lanes now as they meet. They've done quite a bit of solo damage. See if Turtle and Lustboy can get themselves some kills here on LemonNation and Sneaky. Like we said, that lane came out on top last time. We'll see if it can again.
I got word it was a very easy teleport cancel for balls. He just used his whimsy to get in range. It was not anything special. Flash was completely up, and now they also hold the teleport edge. Oh, this could be a nice setup, though.
Oh, consecutively stacking those crowd controls. Very nicely played. High only doing what he can to stay alive and get that teleport in. Balls can knock the wild growth in time. They may have gotten themselves into a sticky situation here. One more scout of the week, but it's not going to be up. There it is with the blue buff. A little too late, but TSM gaining some good ground. 1,000 gold lead. Nice hook. Grab from Lustboy. The rotation now from the support. Trying to put pressure down in the mid lane, and he starts to bring down Turtle with him. Dyrus is going headstrong from between the turrets. They are even walking through wards to get this one down. He's going to back off. Bjergsen in between the turrets now. 37 seconds on Dragon, and everything falling in for Team Solo Mid right now.
Yeah, TSM is trying to out-teamwork Cloud9 right now, actually. They are the ones grouping up more frequently, trying to force team fights and collaborating with solo lane ganks, something that Cloud9 has basically coined. High and Balls working together with ganks. That time it's Dyrus and Bjergsen chaining crowd control, finishing off High, and trying to finish this mid turret.
Not a turret down yet for Team Solo Mid, but they have dropped 3 of Cloud9's, and they're going to start getting forward wards.
Plus that Dragon number 2. How much is down for Cloud9? They are starved of vision. They have not been able to get this vision up. They're down 3 turrets, and if they lose this Dragon, it's even more.
Meteos is still very big. He can come up in these fights for the team. Tidal Wave just on the other side is actually not there yet. No 6 from LemonNation. TSM able to pick up another kill with ult not being there on the side of Cloud9.
It looks like Cloud9 have lost control. You could see it was like TSM was coming out of the abyss there with the Fog of War being targeted. Cloud9 had no idea where TSM was, so they could not make informed decisions, and TSM has actually just destroyed this early game despite it seeming like Cloud9 had the edge.
4-3 and a 4,000 gold lead. We say almost 4,000 at 12 minutes into the game. Definitely a different game too here. Whatever talk that Reginald and Loco had on that stage is coming into play.
Yeah, check this out. I mean, the early game move to have Dyrus just double jungling and then do a 4-man push on the bottom lane, it's on Sneaky and Meteos to try and make an edge out of that. Meteos is 3-0-0, but with the Sightstone, his combat effectiveness isn't great. And Sneaky on Tristana, even though he did have that BF sword, if he's being paced by Dragon kills, turret kills, and player kills from WildTurtle, he's just not going to be stronger. And everywhere they go, TSM actually has an edge, and they continue to get out-rotated.
Oh my gosh, wow, they keep Sneaky in. He held it. He let himself get hooked so he could get the rocket jump out, which seems to be the right play so far. LemonNation just on the backside, still not 6, so he can't be using these tidal waves. He's got to get that soon to help the team out.
Cloud9 will need to find a catch in the jungle to stop TSM, but TSM is the team that's grouping up. It's remarkable that they're able to always be a bigger group while continually keeping the lanes pushed. Cloud9's wave clear is just not keeping up with this roam from TSM.
So many valuable wards being placed in Cloud9's jungle right now. TSM is having no trouble with these, and they seem much more comfortable this game. Pushing now the second tier turret in the top lane. This should easily go down. We have High in the bottom who's going to be focused on that. So Cloud9 succeeds this turret, but they will not to the inhibitor.
Yeah, 4 turrets to 1 now is a pretty remarkable map pressure advantage. High trying to get something done in the split push, but it just means the rest of Cloud9 needs to withstand this and play the disengage game for a while.
Disengage indeed. TSM has found a way into the face of Cloud9 every time they needed to. A 0-3-2 coming in for High this game. Meteos has picked up those 3 kills, but they're not really able to spread that power around just yet. TSM, however, doing quite a bit with kills across the board.
I'd say this game probably actually turned when High got killed by Dyrus and Bjergsen in the mid lane. Up until that point, it was kind of a trade of experience for turrets, but then there was almost a critical mass of map pressure that you can lose. When High died 2v1 for that, they lost that 3rd turret and in turn lost dragon pressure. Now it's just about how well TSM can constrict Cloud9 and cut off their farming paths.
Well, here's one. They're going to be able to deprive them of it. Maybe a red buff. Cloud9's definitely going to act fast on this one. Meteos still in the mid lane to make sure Bjergsen has something to think about. Gives the rest of Cloud9 a little bit of pressure relief here in the jungle. TSM doesn't want to give up, though.
Dyrus has his teleport up, but he's not there immediately, and he's not willing to burn it as of yet. Ooh. Timely wind wall there by High. Would have been the death of him.
Let's say, when's he going to use it for the Syndra ult? But that definitely saved his life to keep it up for the death sentence. They're trying to harass everything. They're not letting Cloud9 get any bit of their jungle without harass.
TSM much more prepared early game here. They do have the better early game champions, Lucian greater than Trist for quite some time. You can see he's really outclassing him right now. No IE yet on Sneaky. Mid lane as well, Bjergsen always tries to dominate with Syndra, plus the fog of war control of Syndra is just spectacular.
That's a lot of the things that TSM loves to do is create those late game picks just from a slight fog of war. Blue pickup, nice and easy for Bjergsen. He's sitting on penetration boots and an Athene's. Not huge yet, but for this point of the game, it's a nice spike. Very nice.
And Bjergsen actually sitting on 3 green wards right now to go with this sweeper. So you can tell it's all about map control right here for TSM. Cloud9 is going to try and disengage and farm out until they can hit some item breakpoints, because TSM is kind of already there for a lot of them. The Athene's on Bjergsen. The Ghost Blade was completed on WildTurtle. They want to get fights now.
Looks like they're all coming out of base, and that is going to be the plan to formulate. Dragon's up in 1:30. Obviously, bottom lane's going to be cleared out here. Hopefully, Dyrus pushes it down and they get some wards in. That's all their, or rather balls, I should say. Pushes it down, they can get some wards in. Cloud9, they have warded up their side of the jungle like heck, but it's the side of the TSM they need to be on. Right now, I think they're expecting TSM to make a mistake inside the jungle of their own.
TSM trying their hardest to give Cloud9 their first ever playoff loss.
It would be ridiculous.
It's been this mountain the TSM has been unable to climb for so long. Honestly, one of the things that prompted so many of the TSM changes was their inability to challenge Cloud9. If they can't be the best team in North America, then how could they hope to be the best team at Worlds? And TSM, this would be the first step if they can take a game off of Cloud9 in the playoffs.
Huge bit of momentum it would. That first step needs to happen now because Cloud9 is trying to turn it right back on ahead of Team Solo Mid. They will with a nice mid kill. That leaves 30 seconds on Dragon. They're putting the chess pieces ahead way before they need to be, and they're set up for now a turret and possibly this Dragon.
And that was with Bjergsen losing Flash, so he's even more vulnerable in the next fight. The Tristana-Yasuo combo is a very real team fight threat the TSM needs to account for. With the turret being taken down there, if Cloud9 can control that next Dragon, they are right back in the game.
They absolutely are. Didn't even need wards to make that happen, but they have kept themselves quite safe on their own side of the map, stalling out the pressure the Team Solo Mid has created. It's like it's now their time to try and fight back.
This is such a tense moment for Cloud9. They do not have the confidence to just go right into the Dragon Pit. The fear of a teleport from Alistar is absolutely huge. They have to be so careful with this. They're trying to rush it down, but there's the Alistar.
Full TP's coming in. Dyrus gonna be on the top side. He gets the wave, and he gets actually right over it. Throwing on the Iron Will. Looks like he could stay in the middle of the fight. Turtle, no protection for him on the back line, and he's got 2 big DPS crunchers coming on him. It's gonna be 28 seconds for him in the death chamber. Amazing. Now the focus. Dyrus still trying to do what he can, but nobody else was really able there to help him with the peel he was creating for the team.
Cloud9 played that fight so damn well right there. They completely were able to bypass the Alistar and make him not matter in that team fight. Getting the Dragon is absolutely critical for Cloud9.
WildTurtle, unfortunately, coming out of Cloud9's jungle at the beginning of all that, just wasn't the positioning they needed.
I mean, watch this. Alistar comes in, and we're talking about disengage right here. You think Dyrus has done it by peeling off right there, but he's not doing anything with that Rod of Ages. What happened was Cloud9 went for the people they can actually kill, and they're able to get past the cow. So Dyrus has no presence here. Once he uses his headbutt pulverize, he doesn't do anything, especially without a Trinity Force for auto attack damage. They focused down the targets they needed to.
Man.
By the time the ultimate was down for Dyrus, he was just a squishy dude. They finished him off as well, and now they're in the lead. Unbelievable patience from Cloud9.
So much speed to take down WildTurtle, and then just pretty much nix the damage coming out of TSM for the rest of the fight. Bjergsen needing to get in there with the team next time, but they need the positioning overall, and that was won by Cloud9 very handily. 29,000 now as they take the lead to 28. Game 1 in their favor, and it looks like they're trying to do that again. TSM very close to pulling this one back in their favor, just with another move. Those are going to go back and forth, I feel, for the next 10-20 minutes.
How can TSM beat Cloud9? Because it is so difficult for them to do. They're trying as best they can. They had that early game lead. They took down so many early game turrets, but have the team fights swung against them here. You could see Dyrus was unable to be effective there with that initiating. They have to initiate more cleanly. Dyrus needs to be in there while the TSM members are dealing damage. They cannot have him be run past, and now the tidal wave...
And they don't want to stop.
...is a zone so they can get turret damage down, but Alistar is flanking. This might be the fight.
There goes Dyrus, and he gets a 4-man pulverize. The calling hits the entire wall, and WildTurtle's forced to stop it himself.
Yes, whoa!
Oh my God, High goes in to get the 4-man last breath himself. They're able to completely turn this on Team Solo Mid's head, and TSM was coming in for the engage for themselves.
And that's the 2 for 0 right there. Alistar got the pulverize, but where was the follow? Here's some follow.
Another one. Waits for the cooldown, gets it again. He knows he's going down on the way out, but he's hoping his team can pick up some kills. Balls is going to put the shield on, and he keeps himself alive. Bjergsen cannot scatter anyone else, and the follow will stop. Only High goes down.
These fights are so damn close right now. TSM barely losing out on that one, but it was because Cloud9 just fights cleaner. They got that monstrous 4-man last breath, and there was no exhaust to stop High. I mean, watch this. Dyrus, great flank position. He breaks the CC, 4-man pulverize, but a bubble zoned out Lustboy. Bjergsen couldn't chain with the stun, and Cloud9 lived through it. The flame missed right there from the Thresh, and then everyone from Cloud9 was able to just pile on. If not for that turret, Cloud9 may have just decided to continue to wreck TSM. Bjergsen, though, with some really nice skill shots near the end here. Dyrus still with enough health to do a re-engage after a stun, and he's able to get a little bit of follow, but it was just a 1-for-1 trade after that. And a great escape from Cloud9. So damn low.
It's crazy. It seemed TSM had pretty much their spike in items for the time. The Athenes, the penetration, the Rod of Ages being built up by Dyrus, and Cloud9 won that dragon fight. It's like teams have to be risk averse. Give the dragons up, continue your pressure around the map, because Cloud9 in that 5v5 brawl will just put you on the ground. Then over and over again is where they win the fights. We'll see if it happens again. They took it all the way to mid that time and now have a 2,000 gold lead, and they've started to really even up the turrets. At one point, TSM had a shutout on those turrets, but quickly brought back by Cloud9.
The control has definitely shifted here. The emphasis is on TSM to find initiations and then Cloud9 to counter those initiations. Nami is so critical in this because if Alistar goes in, the follow has to come immediately, and if there's a tidal wave there with nothing on TSM to block it, like a Braum or Yasuo, they basically just have to eat the wave, and that is a really difficult thing to team fight through with all the slow and the minor knockup it provides.
LemonNation has had no problem denying that Nami from Lustboy. Doing it now for a second game in a row. See where they keep going here. TSM's now trying to put their foot down, get some more wards down. They definitely need to get that vision before they can start getting themselves in some scary situations. Dyrus on the front line hasn't really had anybody to come up behind him too much. TSM hasn't felt too good about the reinitiate.
So much this is on High's wind wall to be thrown up after Dyrus initiates.
Right.
And prevent follow-up from hitting the team.
Great damage onto the turret. Focus from Team Solo Mid is where it needs to be. Turtle trying to keep the wave in so they can just do it quick and get out of this one. Meteos on the side creating options for Cloud9, but he's forced back to the turret now, and it's going to be just all out 5v5 here at the middle turret before this inhibitor could be possibly going down despite this fight, or decided on this fight, I should say.
Yeah, using the wind walls to just stop the siege is pretty effective thus far. As long as they're able to recover while the wind wall's down. Looks pretty good for them so far. They may actually look for a bit of a counter initiation, but that opens them up to a flank. Good pink ward coverage by TSM. Thought maybe Dyrus would go there, but the TSM follow-up would not be quick. And Amazing takes a bunch of damage.
A very nice scatter. Dyrus puts
thing is, it's through a wind wall.
The team has to be able to get through with Dyrus. Amazing goes in, he gets exhausted immediately. That's going to be balls on the follow for him. Dyrus still trying to do what he can. This is WildTurtle now puts himself on the front line. Quickly throws down the summoner heal for himself. A very flat, fast flash. Pulverize coming in. Or headbutt Pulverize. He didn't flash, he just moved across the screen.
TSM finds the catch there, and they eliminated High from that fight, and now it's just Cloud9 being scattered. WildTurtle on the hunt.
Oh, what a nice buster shot to get back, but he pulls him back in. The Dark Passage could be enough. Lustboy is going to have the vision. He should be able to hit this. A nice dodge by LemonNation. We do have Bjergsen as well in the mid lane with Sneaky right now, kind of going back and forth. The turret did not fall there. They're going to keep going on this.
The war of the mobility boot supports. Too fast for each other's good. Can't get some skill shots down. TSM trying to get this dragon. It looks like they have just kept this game close.
Smart play by Team Solo Mid to come in. Understand that Cloud9 a little bit stronger right now in the game, but they can still win the fights.
There's so much initiation potential, and the chain stun potential from TSM is huge. So this time, they get that first stun onto High. Dyrus chains it, and then in order for High to initiate, which he tried to do, he had to walk through the damage, and he tried to walk through a monster Bjergsen right there. Just a not a clean fight from High. Though if they can burn Dyrus' ultimate here, it would be huge.
That is absolutely
but they used last breath on it. That's too much.
High getting very, very antsy in this situation. Very reminiscent of the Fizz play he used to bring out, and it could be getting in their head that they were ahead in this game, and it does not look that way anymore. Team Solo Mid starting to take an advantage. The culling, pressuring LemonNation and Sneaky off, but not doing too much damage. This turret's warmed up to go down, and Team Solo Mid has got the crowd on their feet.
High making some uncharacteristic mistakes there. You could see the goal was to catch Alistar out of position. Maybe they thought his ultimate was still on cooldown because they burned their team fight on him, and it allowed a fantastic follow from the rest of TSM. Dyrus is untouched. They get 2 kills, and now they can push more turrets.
All the way across the map, coast to coast for the turrets. Now looking at the front line, just around the horde of the 3 inhibitors on the side of Cloud9. 2,000 gold and a little bag of chips in favor of Team Solo Mid. 9 to 10 in kills. These games, they're definitely getting a good amount of kills in. I'm liking it. Trying to brute force through. No poke games here, no tricky stuff, just all out battles.
Very aggressive League of Legends coming on here. Teams trying to catch at each other, but yeah, bubbling to last breath doesn't even phase Dyrus, and the rest of TSM was there to follow. This was a fight without WildTurtle, but if all of the damage and cooldowns get built on Dyrus, then there is nothing to stop the TSM follow. Meteos, as farmed as he has been on Elise, he was 5-0 at one point, is still just an Elise, very reliant on the base damages. And if he's caught out of position, he's going to die just like anyone else.
So we'll see how TSM stays on top of their advantage here. WildTurtle doing very good on Lucian this game. 3-2-1, 205 to the 106 of Sneaky. Once again, when they met up in lane, TSM came out on top again. Very good power spikes for both of those AD carries, however, and it's only going to get stronger for Sneaky towards the late game. You can see TSM trying to keep the pressure on and not let that happen. Almost taking Sneaky down, and Dyrus tries to get in. He does break it, gets the Pulverize down. He wanted that headbutt first to create the crowd control and stick Meteos in the same spot, Beautiful pickup here that they're going to get, and it is perseverance that pays off for Team Solo Mid.
Interesting that Balls was not willing to use his wild growth on Meteos. It's almost like they're saving it for a later fight. Almost a great escape by Cloud9. Nice catch by TSM, but this game is not yet over. The Baron dance will continue.
Bjergsen showing in mid, trying to get that Fog of the War scatter of the week, or at least pull somebody, but Cloud9 does not have the vision they want there, so they're playing very wary as they enter the top side of Baron.
Yeah, it's all about sweeper cooldowns. No scrying orb, surprisingly, on Cloud9. You often see a scrying orb from the red side of the map here, meaning they have to kind of walk in this dangerous territory and get picked off.
No ultimate. Didn't even have
Too
time.
fast.
Yep.
The stun into the Kha'Zix isolation was just too much to handle. TSM can continue to do that. They'll wait a few seconds. When they realize no one's coming, they can just hit the Baron.
He's doing a fake.
Cloud9 would not see those. This is purely only seeing it on Spectator. Cloud9 just sees a bunch of black.
Yeah, that's the fake. Oh, they go for Meteos as well. They're going to be getting turrets on the other side, though, so this means
Cloud9 pushing down mid lane fairly quickly. Meteos will come again to try and delay this farther. This could be a lost inhibitor for TSM, actually. Meteos might even try and steal the Banshees, can kind of block a stun until it's broken. All right, they're pushing him off. But that's an inhibitor down for sure.
Very interesting. TSM takes quite a bit of time and relinquishes their base. The inhibitor goes down here, and C9 is going to walk out with quite a big lead towards the mid lane and possibly the bottom lane.
Oh,
very careful here. I don't see many home guards.
Cloud9 has to run.
2 home guards here coming out, so everybody else is going to be trying to pick up the slack on the back line. Hive will be going down without an escape, but that's what LemonNation's ultimate was for. They made some great ground, and there's minions on the Nexus turret.
Cloud9 tried for a home run there. They had Balls teleport in to try and interrupt recalls, and he was unable to. So now Cloud9 overstayed. They were expecting the recalls to be broken, and they were going for 2 inhibitors, but they did not get it.
All the way ring around the Rosie here by Team Solo Mid and Cloud9. They meet back up in Dragon, and it looks like Turtle very close to going down. The bird stays up, but he's able to get the attacks that keep him alive. Thresh as well, get a little bit of safety.
Hey, Baron buff on 5 members of TSM, but they have to act on this very quickly. Cloud9 did burn that inhibitor down, so if TSM is not pushing the mid lane, then they will lose management of that and have to have a full-time defender, which would allow Cloud9 to just continue to farm up that Trist Yasuo teamfight comp.
Man, quite a bit of multitasking for them to do now. 45 seconds on the Dragon, so they might be able to send, or at least keep WildTurtle there. They have 0 vision. He's going to go back. He's definitely got some items to put in his pocket. What a fantastic game so far. Only 30 minutes into this one. We're definitely not just going to get a one-sided here, but Team Solo Mid has to be very careful. One fight wrong, and Cloud9 could be right on the Nexus.
We've seen by this game that both teams are willing to just turn a fight on a moment's notice if they get the right initiation, and that's what a lot of these fights are coming down to, is just who starts it well, or who follows well, or who executes within the team fight. It's a very fluid game that we have here. And it's not like TSM is making the wrong decisions or Cloud9 is making the wrong decisions that frequently. Baiting at the Baron is something that TSM did. They just guessed that Cloud9 was going to be more aggressive about checking, and then it was too late for TSM to respond by the time Cloud9 was pushing mid. Again here, TSM is trying to push mid, but Cloud9 has mind-gamed themselves down to the bottom lane. There may not be an escape from this team fight, and there will be 5 members of TSM trying to chase them down. Cloud9 is going to try and run ring around the Rosie here. They might get an inhibitor. They do not want to fight TSM, but they're getting the buildings. They don't know where they are. They're going to run right into them, though.
Lustboy not afraid to start this initiation. Amazing, still with the ulti Baron.
This is trouble for Cloud9.
Dyrus with a great initiation from the backside. Bjergsen focusing, seeing what he can get, waiting to take down High, but High still waiting for that GA to get popped. There it is. Bjergsen actually still holding his ultimate. Perfect play here coming in from Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid. High gets himself out, but it's going to be now the trade over. One more kill coming in for Team Solo Mid. It was a 1-for-1.
Being trapped in a 5v5 against a team with Baron and a gold lead is a nightmare. The fact that Cloud9 only suffered 2 casualties and got 1 kill on the back end is miraculous. Now TSM has to defend these super minions. They have a second inhibitor exposed, and Cloud9 should feel lucky to get out of there with their lives.
Creating pressure, burglarizing the jungle a little bit on the way out. Sneaky's going to get himself a blue buff, and they're happy about that. No timer to be had as they leave up the little minions of the boss spawn. So they're really just trying to deplete what everybody has on the side of TSM. A little bit of a breather now, chat.
Yeah.
Go ahead and figure out what the hell's going on.
The teams have to kind of catch their breath, and at this point, plan their next phase of attack. TSM wants to keep this game control. They just want to group up. They want to find an initiation with Alistar, combo with Syndra, and use their superior strength. But Cloud9 is like a bunch of jackrabbits running around. They just can't be contained. This is the right call for TSM, though. They have the 5 people. They still have Baron buff on 4, and Cloud9 does not necessarily have the power to fight them straight on. It's going to be a wave clear battle, and if Cloud9 tries to split push during this, they would most likely expose themselves to a dead inhibitor.
Meteos on the outside here, them jackrabbits putting all their eggs in one basket. This could be a pretty big initiation for Cloud9 on the side. They have no vision around them. They've tunneled into the mid lane here. Meteos coming from the side, misses the cocoon off of a flash.
Really aggressive.
Dyrus with a great ultimate is absorbing so much. The Cohen's actually splitting through the uprates right now, not delivering that much damage, and both teams have hardly taken anything out of that, really. Dyrus doing a good job being a frontline tank, and Meteos was pretty much that for Cloud9.
Cloud9 almost scared TSM off there just by being so damn confident. The Baron buff is now gone from TSM, but they flashed in to try and catch Bjergsen. Now they know that Bjergsen's flash is down. So if they could somehow get a catch, they could take him out of a fight, but it's going to be difficult. Hai took so much poke there. He kind of has to heal right away, which would make the turret die most likely.
TSM being able to get this definitely shows the strength of their 5 right now. This Baron has already worn off, and they are completely taking this with just minion waves. WildTurtle doing a great job of getting himself in range to just get the few shots off. Very dangerous for him at this point, especially now that Dyrus' ult is down.
Exactly. It's all about fighting within the windows of that Alistar ultimate. No true tank at the moment because his build is very squishy outside of the 70% damage reduction.
Whoa.
Given enough time for Cloud9 to recall. The turret's still taking a few shots, though.
And one more. That's so scary that he has to stay that close. It is going to be the initiation that Cloud9 might have wanted, but not anymore. What a turnaround. Bjergsen was sure to just pinpoint out Hai in that fight. Double buff just on the outside, but he can't start to connect any shots. Buster's shot is already down. Jat, they are going for the long haul. This
That's
one,
2.
and the extended fight going in favor right now as the ult up again for Team Solo Mid. They break open the base, and it looks like they want everything. It's going to be 45 to 30-second timers on the clock, and TSM's looking for the next hit.
Rib, this is probably the game. A couple spells landed in the right spot, taking Hai out of the fights, meaning the threat from Cloud9 was gone, and TSM have just handed Cloud9 their first ever playoff loss.
That is going to happen in our second game of the best of 5 series here in the 2014 NA LCS Summer Playoff Finals. We're going to game 3.
TSM strikes back, and we have ourselves a series here.
What fantastic play. A switch has been turned on with the help of Reginald and Loco Doko for Team Solo Mid. A complete 180 from the first game that just happened.
Yeah, it was bound to happen eventually. You cannot remain undefeated for that long. Hai definitely struggled that game. 1-9-7.
Completely different.
By the end of it. He just could not find his way into team fights. Bjergsen had so much control with Cinder right there. He would always catch him with the stun as Hai was trying to make his approach. Save for that one team fight that happened in the mid lane that Cloud9 was victorious in. Everything else went to Bjergsen there.
I think a few things on calculation, communication, the last breath on the ulted Alistar we saw just under the Baron pit. A few of those things were, seems like Cloud9 could have been a little headstrong in their engagements. And TSM, I have never seen them take control of errors so much and do something with them.
Right, they definitely had so much initiation. I mean, that is one of the main reasons that Alistar is banned so frequently here. Dyrus was able to combo so well. Pulverize plus the Syndra stun plus the Thresh follow-up was a little bit much for Cloud9's team, which was mainly squishy and disengage focused. They couldn't quite disengage the way they wanted to that game.
And TSM's mentality throughout this game is like a rock. Dyrus went down at level 2-3 in the jungle on an Alistar. That was the delayed Alistar engagement, their front line that became huge. And he actually hit level 5, level 6 before Balls did in his lane as they started to match up. So Dyrus made sure, and has been, that he is really providing for the team, whether it just be that utility or going ham like he did on Saturday.
And that was an incredibly back and forth game. Both of those team comps had the potential to win that game in multiple places. It's just these teams are playing each other at such a high level. They played so many scrims against each other.
Say that again.
So familiar. It's like they're frenemies in a sense, friend enemies for these guys. But they have a series that now is down to the next 3 games.
That's right. So right now we're going to send it over to the analyst desk to walk us through that huge win by Team Solo Mid.
Thanks, Riv. And a huge win is exactly right. Gets TSM back into this series. Now they're just looking at a best of 3. And that's got to be pretty... I actually saw Skara tweet out that Game 2 is the most important, in his opinion, the most important game of a best of 5. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think it would be Game 3 that's the most important, in my opinion, because a team could 3-0 and be over, or they could go 2-1 and swing the momentum. Or, well, no, I guess those would be the only options. Yeah!
But I feel like, I mean,
I had to think about it for a second. I was like, they could go 1-1, and then that third game actually does matter a lot.
But there's got to be an element of, for TSM, losing that first game, but then coming back and having the confidence of not only just winning a game, but knowing that you can do it on the backside of a lost game is an even greater step in the confidence. Pobelter?
Yeah, I feel like the first game, both teams kind of get a feel for each other, kind of get a hang of what's going on. And then the second game, both teams are warmed up. They know what to expect and what to prepare. And so, yeah, I'd say that the second game is the most telling.
I like it. Something I want to point out is the fact that I gave a lot of flack for the Lucian into Triss pick, and then they go and win with it this game.
They did something very crucial, is they got a dragon, they swapped Lucian up top, even though he's down in levels. You can't give that Tristana free farm. You have to put somebody in that lane that at least contests her for it, and he did exactly that. He pushed her out of lane immediately as WildTurtle got up there to match. I thought that was the perfect move.
And then Pobelter, Cloud9 left up Syndra for Bjergsen, which is widely known as one of his better champions. They chose to ban out the Zed in favor of that. What are your thoughts there?
The pick ban was really weird. They left Syndra up for Bjergsen. That's fine if you have an answer to it, and their answer was supposed to be Yasuo, but picking Yasuo into Alistar and Syndra is just pretty much suicide. Like, you have to play absolutely perfectly to even, do okay.
Yeah, I think the big thing was the Alistar that game in picks and bans for me, because immediately picked up their first pick for TSM. Dyrus now has a frontliner, which he didn't have last game, and it is one of the best picks against a Tristana and a Yasuo. Just so much displacement, and Tristana, you can dive her in her bad mid game if you all group up level 7, level 8, level 9, and she can't do anything about it. Even late game, his damage reduction is just massive against her.
Yeah, Dyrus is one of the players we pointed out to watch for this game. He definitely stepped it up on that Alistar, made some plays, roamed mid, got Bjergsen a kill, which was played a large role in that win. I do want to jump into a replay. This is actually for Cloud9, just because it was a pretty epic play. We're going about 20 minutes into the game at TSM's inner turret. Pobelter, walk me through this.
Okay, so we can roll the clip. So we see Nami zone out all of TSM with the tidal wave, and Alistar is coming in from the flank right now, but TSM has tried to evade the tidal wave, so they're really far away. The cocoon is really crucial there. It delays the Alistar engage, but he gets a beautiful 4-man pull. The wind wall is really good. It blocks pretty much everything. But TSM just tunnels too hard. They get hit by a 4-man Skill Tempest into the last breath, and then yeah, that's basically how you have to play on Yasuo against Alistar Syndra, but it's so difficult to do that consistently.
Yeah, we talk about Cloud9 being a great team fight-oriented team, and just saying that doesn't really go into depth about why they are. Their positioning is so good, and the fact they all move together as a group, and their comms are very clear, there's only one person really talking most of the time, is fantastic. And that's why they're so good at this, because everybody went the same direction, everybody went the same way, and they all turned at the same time.
I have to say, I love their decision-making. When it came to that Baron play, TSM decided to start the Baron. Cloud9 was like, fine, we'll just take an inhib and a bunch of turrets.
It was a good move. It was a really good move to try and answer and trade those objectives, because they got two people picked off, because actually one person picked off, but then Meteos was kind of stalled by the Baron. So they had a 3-man push, which was divided 2-1 over in the bot lane. I thought that was the best move they could have possibly made in that situation.
Teams seem to have different prioritizations for global objectives. For example, Cloud9 choosing to go for that inhibitor over the Baron. Pobelter, just a kind of a personal question. For you, which is more important? Would you trade a mid-inhib for that Baron?
It depends. Like C9's team comp, their push wasn't that great because they had Yasuo. Can't really zone people away from turrets like someone like Syndra or Anya can. So towers and inhibitors are more important than Barons, I feel. But I don't think they were able to contest that Baron at all. They just had so little vision, so they decided to go for the safer trade.
Take what you can get. I like it. I do now want to jump into the final team fight of the game, which turned everything for TSM, gave them that win. Zyrene, I'm going to let you take this one away.
All right, so they're sieging up in the mid lane here, and Sneaky, I don't think he's died this game just yet, but they end up picking him off at the end. So start rolling the clip out here. Yeah, they just siege up back and forth. The cocoons come through, and they don't hit in high. He's overextending. He's just trying to get that Steel Tempest. He's reaching out, and Bjergsen picks him off, and Sneaky off on the side. There's nothing here to blow him up, but then he jumps over the wall, and they have to get this wild growth onto Meteos to keep him alive. So he tries to get out, they blow him up with some crits, and then they dive Sneaky, giving him his first death of the game. And then from there, it's pretty much over. They don't have anything to deal with this. They just keep going through, and they just end up ending the game off of that. And a lot of that was High couldn't get his Steel Tempest to get his last breath.
Yeah, they didn't seem to quite have an answer for the sieges of TSM there.
I just want to mention that was actually like Sneaky's first ever death against TSM in a playoff match, right?
I think he died last game one time.
Did he die last?
Not 100%
I'm not
sure.
entirely certain.
See, I tweeted about it, but then somebody tweeted back at me and was like, "Nope." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll double check it," but I didn't have time, so
getting called out. All right, final question here. We're moving into Game 3, swapping back to the sides we had in Game 1. So we're probably going to see, would we see similar bans from Cloud9? Because they did ban out the Syndra in the first game, and that seemed to be one of the biggest problem causers for them in this game.
I think that their bans, there's so many things right now that you have to pay due diligence to. The Alistar, the Maokai, the Nidalee. They've been banning out Lee Sin on the side of Cloud9. I don't know if you really always have to ban that against Amazing.
All right. Well, we'll see what they decide to go for. We've got more Championship Monday action coming your way. When we return, we'll head into Game 3 between Cloud9 and TSM. Stay with us.
All right, let's do this.
Just remember what we practiced.
Let's give C9 their first nerf last.
There goes Dyrus in. He gets a 4-man pulverize. The calling hits the entire wall, and WildTurtle's forced to stop it himself. Yes! Oh my God! High goes in to get the 4-man last breath himself. Dyrus puts
thing is, it's through a wind wall.
The team has to be able to get through with Dyrus. Amazing goes in. He gets exhausted immediately. That's going to be balls on the follow for him. Dyrus with a great initiation from the backside. Bjergsen focusing, seeing what he can get. Waiting to take down High, but High still waiting for that GA.
Stun 3, stun 3, stun 3.
Seconds on ult. I can go in. I can go in.
Stun on Sneaky. Alright, never mind, I missed.
Sneaky. Nice.
Get them. Stun 3, stun 3.
We can end here. Nice. Nice job, guys.